Welcome to The Debate. Today we are stepping directly into the blast radius of the American id. We're examining a body of work that really defines the lowbrow or pop surrealist aesthetic, a visual language that takes the discarded trash of our culture, hot rods, fast food, cartoons, pinup models, and remixes them into these hyper-detailed technical masterpieces.
It's a collection that feels less like an art gallery and more like a fever dream. We're looking at images that are just screaming with color, overflowing with slime, severed limbs, grinning clowns. It is undeniable, I'll give you that. But the question we have to wrestle with today is, what is that scream actually saying? Is it a shout of joy, or is it a cry for help?
And that really is the friction point. I look at this collection and I see a liberation. I see a joyful, anarchic celebration of the human imagination. This is the underdog aesthetic finally taking its place at the table, taking the low culture we were told to ignore, comic books, carnival sideshows, and elevating it to high art. It is chaos, yes, but it's a generative, vibrant chaos.
I see the chaos, but I just don't see the joy. I see a cautionary nightmare. To me, this collection is a scathing, cynical autopsy of moral decay. This isn't a celebration of American culture. It's a crime scene photo of it. The chaos represents societal collapse, a world where humans are reduced to products and where consumption is depicted as this violent, self-destructive act.
I think that's a heavy reading for something so inherently playful, but okay, let's establish where we stand. I'm arguing that this visual density is an invitation to play, not to despair. It's about the thrill of the ride.
And I'm arguing that the play is a trap. The ride is broken and the exits are all sealed.
All right, let's look at the evidence, because the images speak for themselves if you let them. Take image A, 14, the piece known as The Pirate Girl. If you look at this, really look at it, you can't tell me this is cynical. We have this vibrant, romanticized depiction of a woman in full pirate garb surrounded by treasure. The colors are electric, deep reds, shimmering golds. It captures that specific childhood desire to dress up, to be something larger than life. It's the power of fantasy.
But fantasy is often a retreat from a reality we can't handle. Is she a pirate because she's free, or because the world outside has become so hostile that retreating into a costume is the only defense mechanism left?
Or it's a way to survive it through creativity. Look at image A24, the Snake Man. This is crucial to my argument for the humanity of this work. We see a literal snake walking down a city street, but look at the details. He's wearing a baseball cap, he's wearing a bright yellow t-shirt, and what does the shirt say? In big red letters, I'm a person too.
It is pathetic though, isn't it? It feels desperate.
No, it's profound. This isn't a monster to be feared, it's a plea for empathy. It's the artist saying that the weirdos, the outcasts, the freaks of society deserve space and dignity. It is a core value of pop surrealism, the humanization of the grotesque. The snake isn't biting anyone, he just wants to be acknowledged.
That's a compelling spin, I'll give you that. But I think you're mistaking bright colors for optimism. The fun you describe is just a thin veneer over deep anxiety. You see a snake asking for empathy. I see a world where the distinction between human and animal has collapsed entirely because we've lost our souls. The shirt, I am a person too, is necessary because in this world, nobody is treated like a person. Everyone's a thing.
That seems a little extreme. You're ignoring the humor.
Am I? Let's look at image A, 25, the murderer's head disco. You simply cannot spin this as a celebration. We see a severed, decomposing head hanging from the ceiling like a disco ball. It's grotesque. The flesh is peeling, the eyes are vacant, and beneath it you have these futuristic figures dancing, completely oblivious.
It's macabre, certainly, but it's also absurd. It's memento mori. Remember you will die, so you might as well dance.
It's more than macabre. It is a direct critique of a society that entertains itself with death. We are the dancers. We party under the shadow of violence and refuse to look up. The smiles in these works aren't genuine. They're rictus grins. And if we look at image A, 48, the Wheel of Incidentals,
The critique of capitalism becomes, well, undeniable.
The wheel is a dense piece, I'll grant you.
It's crushing. We see a man pushing a wheelbarrow full of money bags, the ultimate symbol of the hustle. But he is being crushed by a massive stone wheel. The wheel is divided into slices showing symbols of industry, death, time. This is the weight of the system crushing the individual. It's not a celebration of the American dream. It's a depiction of the futility of greed.
I'm not convinced by that because it ignores the energy of the struggle. Yes, the wheel is heavy, but the figure is pushing forward. There is a Sisyphus quality to it that I find admirable. But let's dig into the core of this. One of the biggest themes, and where we seem to disagree most, is consumption, food, sex, the American appetite.
Which is portrayed here as ravenous, almost cannibalistic.
Or enthusiastic. You have to look at the texture. Take image A22, the taco lady, or image A28, the diner waitress. Look at the way the food is painted. The giant tacos, the burgers, they're lush, glistening with grease and cheese. They're painted with the same technical reverence a Renaissance painter would give to, I don't know, a bowl of sacred fruit. This is an embrace of American abundance.
It looks like plastic to me. Artificial.
It looks delicious. And the sexuality, the scantily clad women. It's presented with the exaggerated gusto of a pulp novel or pinup art. It's meant to be titillating, sure, but it's also honest about our desires. It's not judging the appetite, it's acknowledging it with a wink. Why must we be ashamed of appetite?
Because in this specific visual universe, consumption is almost always linked to danger. It's not abundance, it's a trap. Look at image A19. We have a man eating a sandwich, looking quite satisfied. But directly below him, in a split panel, there is a head trapped in a toaster-like device, smoking with wires everywhere.
You interpret the toaster as a torture device?
What else could it be? The act of eating is mirrored by the act of being burned, of being consumed. You eat the sandwich, the machine eats you. It's a closed loop. We consume the world and the industrial world consumes us. And it gets worse. Look at image A43, the mouths.
That one is intense.
It's terrifying. A man is lying on the ground, terrified, covering his ears. Surrounding him are these giant disembodied mouths, shouting, teeth bared. This isn't the joy of appetite. This is sensory overload. This is a man being harassed by the demands of the world. Buy this, eat this, watch this. The appetites you speak of are eating the protagonist alive. It is the visual representation of a panic attack induced by advertising.
I see that intensity and I grant you the noise, but I view it as the thrill of the noise. The volume is the point. It's loud because life is loud, which, leads me to the clash between high culture and low culture. This is where I think the artist is most triumphant.
Or the destruction of standards.
No, it's a leveling of the playing field. Look at image A36, the 18th salon. We see these stuffy aristocrats in wigs in a wood-paneled room, the epitome of high art exclusion. And who invades the space? A prickly, cartoonish cactus man and adorable kittens falling from the sky.
It creates a jarring dissonance. It ruins the composition.
It creates joy. It disrupts the stiffness. It is ridiculous. And that is why it is brilliant. It's the artist breaking down the gates of elitism with the absurdity of a Saturday morning cartoon. It's an invasion of the fun into the realm of the boring.
It's chaotic intrusion. You see democratization. I see a loss of coherence.
It's a necessary intrusion. It pairs perfectly with image A9, where we see the Institute of Savoir-Faire literally exploding. The building is blowing apart. You might see destruction, but I see liberation. The explosion is clearing away the boring, the old, the repressed, to make room for new energy.
But what is that new energy? That's the problem. I interpret this collision very differently. If you look at image A41, we see a news crew filming a doll and action figure funeria disposal.
A funeral for dolls? It's hilarious.
It's tragic logic. A dump truck is pouring dolls into a pit. This suggests that the low culture, the toys, the plastic things you think are being celebrated, are just as disposable and tragic as anything else. The trash culture isn't saving us, it's just filling up landfills. We replace aristocrats with plastic dolls, and then we throw the dolls in a ditch. Where's the progress? It's a cycle of waste.
That is a very literal reading. I see it as a mock tragedy, a satire.
The symbolism implies otherwise. Consider image A7, the magician. A magician walks through a city, but look at the cards he's dropping. They aren't hearts and spades. They're vignettes of violence, people fighting, monsters attacking. The argument here is that the magic of pop culture is just a distraction. It's sleight of hand to make us ignore the urban decay in the background. The magician isn't a hero, he's a charlatan.
That's an interesting point, though I would frame it differently. The magician is acknowledging the violence and he's creating a spectacle to help us survive it. Which brings us to technology and progress. You see a critique, but I see a retro-futurist optimism, particularly in the hot rod aesthetic.
Optimism? Really?
Absolutely. Pure custom culture. Look at image A29, race cars tearing around a track. There is such dynamism there, a need for speed. The colors are explosive, yellows, reds, chromes. It captures the adrenaline of the machine age. Or image A20 with that surreal red car walker robot. It's a creative reimagining of how we move. It's not scary, it's inventive.
I think you're ignoring the body count. In that same image A29, the cars aren't just racing, they are crashing. There's smoke, fire, debris. And look at the top right, there are tombstones floating in the sky for the drivers. Eddie, Gaston. The race is a death march. It's a critique of our obsession with speed and danger.
A little danger is the price of excitement. It's the risk that makes the hot rod cool.
We see a dodo bird, an emblem of extinction, a biological failure, strapped into a biplane.
It's hilarious. A bird that can't fly, flying a plane.
It's tragic. It's trying to use technology to fly because nature failed it. But it's absurd. It's a symbol of humanity trying to use gadgets to outrun our own obsolescence. The machine won't save the dodo, and the hot rod won't save the driver. Progress in this material is an illusion.
See, I find the dodo and the plane to be charming. It's the underdog refusing to give up. Nature says I can't fly? Fine, I'll build a plane. That is the most American optimistic impulse imaginable. But let's talk about the characters themselves, the monsters. In my view, the monsters are often the heroes. They represent the id, the creative force.
And I view them as instruments of torture.
Let me give you a different perspective. Look at image A4. We see a painter in his studio, but the painting, a giant monster, is coming to life. It's grabbing the artist. This isn't an attack. This represents the power of art to overwhelm the creator. It's that moment where the idea becomes so big it consumes you. It's a rush. The monster is the muse.
A romantic interpretation of being assaulted by your own creation. But if you want to talk about monsters, we have to talk about image A40, titled Tickled Pink.
Okay, that one is complicated.
It is straightforward horror, masked comedy. The title implies fun, laughter, but the visual is horrific. A figure is strapped to a bed in a snowy landscape, being tickled by clowns. But look at the victim's face. It is blue. They are hypoxic. They are suffering. This is torture. The clown aesthetic is being used to mask sadism. It suggests our entertainment is built on someone else's suffering.
It walks the line, I admit. It explores the proximity of laughter and screaming.
It crosses the line. And then there is image A47, Instant Sanctity. This sums up my entire argument about the cynicism of the work. We see a hobo, a figure of poverty and neglect, being sprayed with a commercial spray bottle labeled Instant Sanctity.
It's a satire of consumerism, sure.
It's mocking the very idea of redemption. It suggests that in this society, we think we can fix deep social rot with a quick consumer product. Aura in a bottle, it says. The grotesque reality of poverty is papered over by cheap commercial solutions. The monsters aren't just the creatures. The monsters are the people selling the spray. It is profoundly bleak.
I see the satire there, of course. But even in Instant Sanctity, there is a humor in the absurdity of the solution. The artist is laughing with the hobo at the stupidity of the world, not laughing at him. It's a shared joke about how broken everything is.
That distinction, laughing with versus laughing at is where we fundamentally disagree. I feel the artist is laughing at the condition of humanity itself.
And that brings us to the end of our analysis. We've looked at appetites, culture clash, machines, monsters. We've traveled from the diner to the disco, from the racetrack to the gutter.
And the verdict remains split. To me, this collection is a garden of earthly delights for the modern age. It is a warning. It is screaming that our obsession with speed, sex, and commodities is turning us into caricatures. The visual noise isn't a party. It is the sound of a culture crashing.
And I maintain that while the danger is real, the energy is undeniable. The artist isn't condemning the chaos. They are surfing it, refusing to be bored, refusing to be repressed. This work asserts that I'm a person too, amidst the madness. It finds beauty in the gutter and philosophy in a hot rod. It says, yes, it's crazy, so let's paint it in bright red.
Perhaps that's the power of the material. It forces the viewer to decide if they are looking at a party or a crime scene.
Exactly. It creates a tension that doesn't resolve. The images are simultaneously attractive, bright, skilled, funny, and repulsive, violent, gross, cynical. And in that tension, the truth of the American experience probably lies.
On that, we can agree. It is a mirror, whether we like what we see or not.
Thank you for listening to the debate. We'll see you next time.